I'm 79 years old. I woke up this morning with the same ache in my knees I've had for years, and a heavier one in my chest that never really goes away anymore. It isn't pain exactly. It's the feeling of realizing there are more days behind me than ahead, and that most of the important ones are already gone. I'm not telling you this to be remembered. I don't need sympathy. Most of the people who knew me well are already dead or too tired to listen. I'm saying it because I can still talk and you can still hear. That feels like enough of a reason. When you get old, time doesn't speed up the way people say. It thins out. The days feel light, almost transparent. You can see straight through them to the end. That's when memories stop being something you revisit for fun. They start showing up whether you want them or not. I sit in my chair by the window most afternoons. The light comes in just right around 3. I watch people walk past. Most of them are younger than I am by decades. They're busy, talking into phones, looking down, moving fast like there's somewhere they need to be that can't wait. I remember moving like that. In my 20s, I thought I was being responsible. That's the word I used, responsible. I took the job that paid steadily, not the one I liked. I stayed late. I showed up early. I told myself I'd enjoy life once things were set. That word again, set. I got married young. She was kind, patient. She laughed easily. I loved that about her. We used to talk late at night in our tiny kitchen, sitting on mismatched chairs, drinking cheap coffee. She would tell me about her day. I would half listen, already thinking about the morning. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I thought that was just how life worked. You put your head down, you handle your obligations, you rest later. Later felt so real back then. In my 30s, everything filled up. Work, bills, a mortgage, people needing things from me. I was always tired, but I wore it like a badge. Tired meant useful. Tired meant important. Friends stopped calling as much. When they did, I said I was busy. Sometimes I really was. Sometimes I just didn't feel like putting in the effort. There was always next week, next month, next year. My parents aged quietly. I didn't notice at first. My mother's hands started shaking when she poured tea. My father repeated stories. I laughed it off. I told myself I'd spend more time with them once work slowed down. Work never slowed down. By the time I noticed how old they looked, it felt awkward to sit with them for long. There were silences I didn't know how to fill. I left early. I told myself I'd come back soon. Soon is a dangerous word. In my 40s, cracks started showing. Not dramatic ones, small ones, missed dinners, forgotten birthdays. Arguments that ended without resolution because I had an early meeting the next day. My wife stopped waiting up for me at night. She'd already be asleep when I came home. I remember standing in the doorway once, watching her breathe, thinking how peaceful she looked. I didn't wake her. I was too tired. Or maybe I was afraid of the conversation that might follow. We grew polite with each other, civil, efficient. That felt like maturity at the time. It wasn't. The damage didn't arrive all at once. It came in inches. A look that lingered a second too long. A conversation postponed again. A weekend lost to work that didn't really matter in the end. I kept telling myself I was building something. A future, security, a life worth being proud of. What I was really building was distance. The turning point didn't feel like one when it happened. That's the cruel part. There was no dramatic moment, no warning music, just a phone call on an ordinary afternoon. My father had collapsed. By the time I got to the hospital, he was unconscious. Machines breathed for him. His skin looked thin, almost paper-like. I stood there, holding his hand, realizing I didn't actually know him very well. Not anymore. He died the next morning. At the funeral, people shared stories I'd never heard, sides of him I'd never seen. I nodded and smiled, feeling like a guest in my own family. My mother moved in with my sister after that. I visited when I could, which wasn't often. Life continued, that's what it does. A few years later, my marriage ended quietly. No shouting, no slammed doors. Just two tired people admitting we'd already said goodbye a long time ago. We split things evenly. That seemed fair. What wasn't fair was realizing how little of each other we had left. In my 50s, I finally slowed down. Not by choice. My body made the decision for me. Health issues, doctor visits, long waits in sterile rooms. I had time then, too much of it. I tried reaching out to old friends. Some didn't answer. Some were polite but distant. We had become strangers who shared a past. My children were grown by then. They had their own lives. I don't blame them. I wasn't around much when they were young. I thought providing was enough. I thought love could be understood without being shown. I was wrong. The clearest moment came later, after my mother died. I was going through her things, old letters, photos, notes she'd kept. In one of them, she wrote about waiting for my calls, about hoping I was doing well, about missing me. I sat on her bed and cried in a way I never had before. Not loud, just steady, the kind of crying that comes when there's nothing left to fix. That's when it hit me. Not like a revelation. More like a quiet understanding that settled in and never left. I had spent my best years preparing for a life that never arrived. There are things that can't be repaired once enough time has passed. Relationships don't stay frozen, waiting for you to show up. They move on, or they fade. You don't get to reclaim moments you assumed would repeat. Now, at 79, people ask me if I'm proud of my life. I tell them yes, because it's easier. Because it avoids questions I don't have the energy to answer. The truth is more complicated. I'm grateful for what I had. I really am. But gratitude and sorrow can exist in the same place. They often do. I look at old photos sometimes. A younger version of me staring back, full of plans, certain there was plenty of time. I want to reach through the image and say something, anything. But photos don't listen. If you're hearing this and you're younger than I am, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in telling people how to live. I can only tell you what I didn't understand. Time doesn't feel precious when you have a lot of it. It feels ordinary, replaceable. That's the lie. The days you're rushing through right now, the ones you barely remember, those are the ones you'll miss later. Not the big achievements, the small, unremarkable moments you assumed would always be there. I thought I was postponing joy. I didn't realize I was trading it away. There is no moment when life suddenly opens up and says, now you can live. It's happening while you're busy planning. I don't have many years left. I know that. I've made peace with it mostly. Some nights are harder than others. I sit here now, in the quiet, thinking about all the conversations I didn't have. All the times I chose later over now. I can't change any of it. All I can do is tell the truth while I still can. If this reaches you, and it makes you pause for a moment, that's enough. I don't need anything else. The light by the window is fading. It always does. That's how days end. That's how lives do too.